G'day again, NotJah Witness here, answering some questions from Lady D about the Jehovah's Witnesses, what they do, who they are, their religious structure, and just generally their beliefs, and a few other juicy details, to the best of my humble ability. So first up, hey Lady D, this one is for you, but no doubt these questions will be on the mind of many out there. Oh yeah, and by the way, hello. With many thanks to the godless Iowan sending me in the direction of the amazingly talented TC for my fucking sweet new avatar. Check me out, bitches. I wish I looked this awesome in real life. Thank you so much to the both of you, but mostly TC, for the freaking awesome work. Anyway, so let's get into it. First question. What is the Watchtower specifically? Off the bat, the phrase the Watchtower is used interchangeably to mean several different things. On one level, the Watchtower is a magazine that is published for and studied by the Jehovah's Witnesses as spiritual food and God's guidance. Then there is the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania and New York, which is often colloquially called just the Watchtower or Watchtower Organization. This is the official publication company which prints, publishes and distributes the literature, guidance and all the other allowed resources used by the Jehovah's Witnesses, including jw.org. This can also be loosely interchanged in conversation, sometimes with the governing body or the anointed class, but this is usually for simplicity over accuracy's sake, and they fit better for another question here, so I'll come back to that shortly. The next question, what is a publisher as it relates to the Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, for the JWs, a publisher or active publisher is somebody who is proactive in their preaching work, normally aiming to hit a set quota of hours for the weeks or months. These witnesses tally every person they meet and every piece of literature that they give away, every prospective house call, how many times you rejected them, if you have kids, what hours are best to call on you, all of the above that they can deduce from knocking on your door over and over again. An inactive publisher would be somebody not keeping up with their spiritual responsibilities. Publishers themselves may have several levels of commitment, sort of like Scientology and their OT levels. If you are an unbaptized witness, as I was, and you decide to become a publisher, or more accurately, if you finally give in to the pressure to become a publisher, you are an unbaptized publisher and have the minimum set hours to reach. I personally can't recall the exact hours, and they are likely vastly changed from what I remember by now anyway. When you're baptized, you're expected to become a publisher, if you weren't already, and take on a more significant burden of hours doing the so-called good work. From there, you can become a pioneer, where you are required to do full-time hours or more in the field, or even do missionary work where you travel overseas to impoverished places to Bible bash at them for about as much as you would donate a day. These are not as common for your everyday witnesses, however, as most are hard-pressed enough putting in the minimum hours required as just a baptized witness. How is the governing body chosen or appointed? As mentioned before, a lot of the time, for simplicity's sake, a lot of people, even witnesses, will use terms such as the anointed class, the governing body, the Watchtower, even Bethelites is sometimes used, all to describe the same thing. However, for the sake of clarification, I will explain each actual meaning. We have already spoken about the Watchtower, so the appointed are those who have been chosen by Jehovah himself to serve in heaven with Jesus as rulers over the earth at Armageddon and beyond. These people will feel the heavenly spirit touch their private parts, or some shit, and they will just know that they are of the anointed. In reality, they just make the shit up, of course. But most are then grilled and would need to prove their worth in the eyes of the governing body before it would be announced as official. You can't step on the toes of the governing body. If you say you are an anointed and they disagree, then you'll be shunned to shit worse than anyone's business. So then there is the governing body. This is the highest class who claim to be the mediators of Jehovah's Word. The few men self-elected within their existing hierarchy of the Watchtower organization to dictate to the worldwide flock. They mostly reside in the United States, strangely enough. They are most often referred to as those giving direction and guidance to the congregation by way of God's Holy Spirit. Kind of like the Catholic Pope, but not quite as revered in such a way. Then there are the Bethelites, who are all of the working class at each Bethel, which serve as national headquarters for the Watchtower Bible and Tract Societies globally. Their international Bethel was the Brooklyn location, but they recently sold this iconic building and moved upstate, from what I've heard. Becoming a Bethelite is similar to doing missionary work, where you move, sometimes cross-country, into the complex and live there permanently, where you work for a meager living, serving Jehovah by slaving for a publication company. The stories heard from these Bethels are quite disastrous, but I should refer you to my mate Fenrir the God Eater for a better discussion on the Bethel controversies. He has a far better knowledge of such goings-on than I do. The next question. Do JWs see and or treat each other differently pre and post baptism? And if so, what changes in how each is treated and or seen? Absolutely. Unbaptized brothers and sisters are looked down on, but in a very subtle way. They are constantly encouraged to get baptized, even at a ludicrously young age, far younger than any legal age of consent. Plus, they will be demeaning in their encouragement to do more in your ministry, more in your studies. Why haven't you caught them in the field lately? Until you're baptized, in their heart, they see you as still yet to be saved. Supposedly, the baptized brothers and sisters are the ideal, as they have given themselves over to Jehovah's will and are guaranteed survival through Armageddon. What are some other words or phrases, concepts or titles that are common to JWs but may not be commonly known outside of that community? I have touched on a fair few already here, but some other common things you hear might be the Awake, which is the magazine Jehovah's Witnesses will carry with them to hand out to their next interested passerby. Elders might be another title you've heard. This is basically a congregation's level of guidance preachers. Elders is the first level. They will reside within the community and be regular participants and leaders within each congregation. You have to be a very high-standing baptized brother to become an elder. Like most of these roles, you can apply to the elders to become an elder, and they will process your application through the governing body of that area or state or even country to decide if you are righteous enough in your path in their eyes. The next up are the overseers, who will travel between congregations doing special talks and larger conventions. There at least used to be a district and circuit overseers, one covering a smaller district than the other. The overseers take direct guidance from the governing body and convey it to their congregations, or the elders of distant congregations to present to their flock. I hope all that made even a bit of sense. So conventions and assemblies are just the big get-together events where entire districts or states, or even sometimes the international events where worldwide attendees travel to a single city for a mass convention. These normally last between 2 to 3 days for local assemblies or 3 to 4 days for the larger conventions, sometimes even 5 for the international. They will have all-day presentations, intermissions for lunch, and song and prayer, and are about the most boring thing you'll ever experience. A couple questions Lady D had for me for my father. She asks, would it still make them happy if they knew this life is all there is? If someday they realise they've been duped, if someday they realise they've been duped, will they have any regrets with regard to what they've sacrificed, avoided and or denied themselves for fear of how it'd affect an afterlife? Lady D, I'm not exactly sure to how to answer these ones, as I'm not them for one, but I think you might actually mean my mother. If I'm wrong though, do let me know. But my mother and my brother are the faithful ones, whereas my father has never been religious and is well aware of the limited time he has left. As for my mother, it absolutely would not still make her happy, but I don't think her knowing it was all bullshit would do her much good with how invested she is mentally and emotionally over 60 plus years. I truly fear it would utterly destroy her. My little brother would, and hopefully one day will, come around and likely be outsmarting me on my own channel here one day. I hope, anyway. He'd be pissed, and likely very hard to control, but he would work it out. I'd be there. I'd be there to help him through it. So, that was it. There, Lady D. I hope I answered your question sufficiently, but as always, hit me up with more down below if you want, or yell at me if I read any of your questions wrong and gave a bullshit answer. Everyone say hey to Lady D in the comments. She is an absolute doll. I hope you all like my new get-up. I'm not as sexy as this in real life, so many thanks again to the Art of TC for this wonderful avatar, which I will now overuse like every other anonymous atheist out there. So make sure to leave any of your thoughts in the comments section below. If you agree, disagree, or wish to correct me, feel free. Plus, if you have any other topics you want me to cover or dig deeper into, leave your suggestions down there too. I am on the Twitter machine and the Facebook now at NotJah Witness. If you wanted to be friends with me there, you can chat to me whenever you please. Anyway, if you would like to see more on the JWs or any other religious beliefs, as I do what I can to expose and refute them where I can, hit that like button and please subscribe. I truly appreciate it. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching, and remember, I'm NotJah Witness.
All I wanna do is live.